Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. My girlfriend was raped and she doesn't want to admit it. My girlfriend exhibits certain behaviors that concern me and she seemed hesitant to address them and brushed them off with a positive mindset of everything will work out. Recently, due to problems in our relationship, I have been pushing her to open up more with me and address her past. I was hit with a bomb that I didn't quite expect. This happened years ago before we even met, but she was friends with a guy who always tried to make moves on her but always turned him down. She thought of him as a nice person as he was always gentle with her and his family was welcoming to her. He was persistent and one day he pressured her into smoking weed. Her memories of the night aren't clear but he essentially drugged her and raped her. Hearing this story made things make more sense. Like why she was so adamantly against weed, who knows if it really was weed and not something else he gave her, and drugs in general. I was shocked and felt sick, and I felt so sorry for her. But she seems to be in denial of what happened and how it affects her, maybe because it's easier to deal with. She was still friends with him after and it took her 2 years to even realize what he did wasn't right and to cut off contact with him. She doesn't consider it rape. She called it kind of sexual abuse. She insists it wasn't that bad because other people go through worse. She maintains he was always nice to her otherwise, so he was a nice guy. She said it was her choice to smoke weed. Meanwhile, she was in tears while telling me this. I told her he was a manipulative predator who should be in prison and that she should have gotten therapy for this. It's too late now, but she should have told the authorities or at least people around him so they know his true color. She said that he doesn't want to ruin his life because while it affected her, she wasn't that traumatized by it. I told her it's more important that he doesn't do the same to other women because he likely has. I also think she's denying how much of an effect this has had on her. This unaddressed trauma, no matter how light it might be, I think manifests in unhealthy behavior. I told her it would be important for her to address this with her therapist. She got uncomfortable and asked to change the topic, which to me shows that this weighs on her mind more than she says it does. I get not wanting to wallow in it, but not addressing it seems equally detrimental. By most people's definition in the developed world, this would be rape, right? I'm frustrated by the excuses she makes for a sick predator, which seem so typical of so many victims who downplay the crime of their assailants. Maybe it makes it easier to cope. Maybe it's about trying to tell themselves they had some control in the situation, so it was their doing too. But this kind of attitude is why predators like this guy get away with harming people. It's been so long ago and in another country that there isn't much to be done about the guy, other than perhaps contacting his family members through social media assuming they would even believe her. But I want her to address this with herself so she can heal properly for her own sake and for the relationship. I understand where you come from, but this is not how it's done and it's not about you. She needs to see a therapist specialized in trauma and she is protecting herself and trying to gain control of her life. You on the other hand are doing things unintentionally that will end up causing more damage to her than heal her. After being raped, people either have clear memories or no memory or distorted ones, and they develop different mechanisms to protect themselves and to live or come back to the normal life they had before such a terrible incident has happened. Rape takes away the feeling that the survivor has any control on their life or anything as matter of fact, so when rape survivor decide to take decisions they do that to get control. Also, since she doesn't remember clearly and stayed in contact with the predator, there are a lot of possibilities. Sometimes survivors do that to make sure the predator has nothing regarding the terrible act on them, or it's because of trauma bonding. So instead of forcing things or coming from place of ignorance, read articles like a really good one about how men can support their partners who have been raped. When your girlfriend opts to address these issues, is her choice. Sometimes people are fine not addressing the traumatic incident because it might pull them into the darkest bit of the ocean and they might not be able to come out of it. Also, not everything that happens in your and her relationship with each other is just because of her trauma. That view is very problematic. I think you really need to reevaluate your behavior as well. All your words and actions are making it seem that it's all about you then her. You are not making it safe for her but you, because you are not able to handle your emotions rightly after she opened up a little to you. You're right, but I told her ultimately she has to deal with a therapist, not me, since I'm not qualified. I do think she has to talk to one about it. I never said that all our relationship problems stem from this, but this explains some things. There's a lot of context I left out here regarding our relationship. Any specific articles you'd recommend? This is the best one till now. This is a good read. Thanks. You are welcome. Sexual assault is inclusive of rape. I wouldn't worry too much about the exact words she uses. I used to think survivors should tell authorities to prevent more victims, but how can we blame them when the system is so corrupt and they often suffer more trauma in doing so? And the fact she was in a different culture and country, can you even imagine how difficult that is? It's also never too late for therapy, but if she doesn't want it, it won't help. One has to be willing and open to it. Just because she doesn't want to talk to you more about it right now does not mean she is in denial or not discussing it with others. She's told you a lot, please be patient. It sounds like it's upsetting you and weighing on your mind. It's fresh to you, it's happened a lot time ago to her. I bet she has made some peace with it. Thanks for the input everyone. According to the handbook connect_peanut_7308 shared, I didn't react as gently as I could have, but I also did some things right. It bothered me that she put the blame on herself and the drugs rather than her attacker. She essentially was protecting him. She even thought that I would blame her, but I of course was adamant that it wasn't her fault at all. I kept saying sorry. I expressed my gratitude for her opening up to me and ended on the note that she should talk to a therapist about it on her own time. We've had troubles in our relationship and I've been dealing with feelings of intense resentment towards her. But now knowing this, I feel much more compassion. It's a long time ago, so I know she's made some peace with it, and all that I can do is to support her. I just worry that she's put the blame on the wrong things, and I think her narrative might be a dangerous one to have. She assumes the best in people and has put herself in risky situations with men before we started dating. She should know that not every guy is a genuinely nice guy, even if they treat her nicely. You are very insightful that denial is a powerful coping mechanism. Personally, I think pushing a survivor of sexual assault into labeling it as rape doesn't really do any good. I once had a friend who described to me the way a date she went on ended. She described what sounded to me like rape. I said, "You know there's a word for what he did, right?" She vehemently said, "Oh, it wasn't that. I think it's just a lesson learned." That was really difficult to hear my friend say. This is how I see it. I am her friend. It is my job to love and support her. If she doesn't want to label what happened as rape, it's not my job to force her to stick that label on it. A sexual predator already forced her to have sex when she didn't want to. I'm not going to dictate to my friend how she should define her own experience. As someone who loves and supports a person directly affected by sexual violence, you are what's known as a secondary victim or secondary survivor. You may be able to get additional support and advice at r/secondary_survivors. Dude, I'm really concerned that the level of intensity I read in your original statement is how you have been pursuing this with her. Seems like she is soft-spoken and you are bullying her. I understand you are upset and want to help, but pushing and insisting that she do what you ask sounds abusive and coercive. She got raped, not you. It was her body, not yours. She has to do what she has to do to maintain her sanity. If she doesn't want to pursue it, leave her alone. Help her with getting therapy when she is ready. Maybe you are being nice to her and how you wrote it seems aggressive. I'm just concerned that you might be causing more damage and being abusive without you realizing it. Anyways, I hope you and her can get to a good place. Sending love to you and her. Good luck. A fuzzy case of cheating reconciliation depending on how you look at it. I have or have not been cheated on, but it feels like someone has twisted a knife into my chest either way. I made a very long-winded post earlier, but I accidentally closed the window and lost everything, so I'll make it brief. The context is very important for me, but here's the short version. Earlier this year I met a girl who I became very good friends with over time. She was staying in my country and had a boyfriend, let's call him S, back home. I tried to keep it platonic, but we always had mutual attraction for each other and sexual tension when together alone. She later started dating another guy, L, in our friend group. It wasn't my business, so I didn't pry, but she was cheating on S. She did eventually tell him and broke up with him. With L, she had an ambiguous relationship. I knew she went on dates and kissed other guys at parties. Their relationship strained. Her and I developed feelings for each other. I admitted I had been in love with her for a while. She broke up with L and we spent almost a day together in a wild ride of rising emotions, passionate sex, and crying together about we'll miss each other before her flight back to her home country. We said the words to each other, I love you. That settled it for me. In the last few days, things got so intense we talked about the possibility of marriage and having kids. I cannot stress enough how intensely I was in love with her. I'm in my 30s and been through several failed relationships, including some serious ones. My mindset about relationships was one of been there, done that. Until her. But I never had a conversation about marriage where I felt this right about it. I never wanted to get married or have kids. But she had to leave. We parted ways with the hope we'll meet somewhere someday, but we ended up calling each other almost every day for hours. I missed her so much I had booked a flight to see her the week after. It was my gesture to build a foundation for the future we talked about. I was sure of this, and I had never been this sure before. The first week was awesome. Her family was nice to me and she showed me around her country as I did for her in mine. It seemed like we just picked up where we left off. I felt even more sure. But I realized something was off. She introduced me to people as a friend despite it being obvious we were more. She tried to avoid it, but I pushed for the uncomfortable topic of our relationship and boundaries. To my dismay, she didn't consider us to be in a relationship. It was a what the duck moment for sure. Turns out she had slept with L back in my country while we were dating, and she slept with her ex during the time we were apart. I was ducked up. Angry, feeling deceived, sad. All the moments, some of the happiest I've had, we shared together seemed like a lie, and I didn't know why I flew halfway across the world to maintain a relationship when there wasn't one in the first place. All those shared dreams of being together, getting married, having kids, were empty words. Did she even love me? I thought about catching the first plane back home. She explained her perspective. We didn't define our relationship and she didn't know I was serious about actually flying halfway across the world to make this work. Nobody else has done that for her. Nobody was as crazy or committed. Maybe nobody was as much of a chump. The fact that I wasn't that important compared to her self-interest. The fact that she avoided the conversation about us and telling me what she did when she had so many chances. The fact she wouldn't have been upfront with me on her own volition unless I demanded it out of her. The fact she would duck other people and turn around to tell me she loves me. The fact she essentially cheated on her ex, with L, and me with both of them. The feeling of being emasculated, of having other men duck the woman I was desperately in love with. The feeling that she had so little regard for my feelings. Also my fault of not pushing for the conversation about boundaries earlier. This all cut into me. I have my perspective, which and I'm sure most people, even including her, think is more right, but I also understood her point of view. We left on the note of seeing each other someday instead of one of making it work. Still, she should have been honest with me about it at least, and we should have had a conversation about our relationship. Or she should have let me go completely instead of calling me every day and telling me that she loves me and playing along with the idea of me visiting her. She was sorry. She begged me to stay. She cried. After a numerous exhaustive series of long conversations, we decided to become official and stay together. But I was still hurt and sad. I became depressed. I was still madly in love with her, but my feelings weren't the same. I was angry and I lashed out and told her everything that was wrong with her. To her credit, she took it well. She admitted her wrongdoings and explored the reasons for her behavior and how not to repeat the same mistakes. She was always nice to me and treated me well when we were together. I put down strict boundaries out of respect for me and to help me heal if we were going to do this. One of them was cutting all contact with her ex. She agreed at first. Things got better and went to shit again when she had to meet her ex to organize the stuff they owned together and say a final goodbye. I couldn't accept it, but she said had to do it. It hurt that she would do this even knowing how hard it was for me. Even though I know they couldn't have done anything sexually, one condition was that her mom is there with her. But she admitted to me she was still in love with her ex and she was working to get over it and to build her love for me. It sucked, but I had to come to accept that. I'm now back in my country and she is in hers, getting ready to move out to another country for work. The idea is that I am going to follow her so I can be with her. She says she is sure about us and that she wants to be with me. But we have a lot of hurdles to overcome. I will always be in fear that she will stray, and I sometimes find myself doubting her feelings for me. Because of my financial situation, I am not sure when exactly I can go to where she is, so there will be a period of time we will be apart. Despite her assurances, I am much more insecure. My trust hasn't been built up fully. And the fact she is still in love with her ex cuts into me deep. I'm making some big changes in my life so I can be with her, and there seems to be red flags all over. Is this a case of infidelity? Can this work out? Am I making it a bigger deal than it has to be? Or am I an absolute idiot for trying to make this work? Yeah, no, she was cheating on you when she was in your country. Also, she was cheating on her boyfriend back home and she cheated on the guy. The girl is just feeding you excuses. You told how you felt she broke up with other guy. Please don't let her play dumb. She knew perfectly well the status of the relationship. All the calls, etc. You know the moment you left she went running back to her ex or some other guy. When she goes to the other country for that job she will be screwing around over there. Don't waste your time trying to make this work, you will only get hurt again. I know she didn't run back to her ex because once again, we have been calling each other every day multiple times for hours at a time, and her ex lives far from her. It would have been logistically near impossible for her to have been with somebody else this time. She has shown a lot of effort in trying to assure me. She gave me access to her phone and I've seen their text messages. It is pretty clear now that it is over. He himself is hurt and doesn't want to contact her. She's basically advertised my existence to her social circles and that she's taken. She's opened up more about what she's feeling and going through instead of avoiding uncomfortable conversations. I don't let her play dumb. I've called her out on her bullshit and she's been pretty receptive of it. She says it's made her rethink things and reflect on herself. I feel for you and I get a sense of your deep feelings for her. I know you want to trust and move on with her, but she might not feel the same for you. TBH, you mentioned in your post how she was in a relationship but cheated on him with someone in the friend group. And she has been active with you, your friend Elle, and her ex. Strictly from an outsider's perspective reading your post, to me, the girl is not serious with you. I know this might not be what you want to hear, but reading your own post you are admitting as much and a little. Or maybe a lot. Blinded by your feelings for her so you overlook the OBV. I hope that you understand this later on, but I know you still want to chase after her and hope she will eventually return your love by getting in a committed relationship. But I hope that you aren't blinded by the many red flags you yourself posted in this story. Here's hoping things get better for you, and I'm totally wrong. Good luck. I totally get it. If someone else I know told me this story, I would say exactly what everyone else is saying: get the hell out. Even on the plane, deep down inside I wasn't 100% about her and I thought I would leave immediately if things didn't turn out the way I wanted. But here I am. I see the obstacles in the way as they are pretty obvious, as you point out. This hasn't been an easy journey for her either. I didn't make it easy for her. It wouldn't make any sense for her to go through all of this if she is going to betray me the first chance she gets again. While I was there, she began reading a psychology book on infidelity, and one of the points that hit her is that cheaters tend to mentally compartmentalize their behavior and lie to themselves, and when the infidelity comes to light, it causes a sort of psychological shock. I believe it because when I cheated on my ex years back, I spiraled into depression. This was a wake-up call for her because at the time she told me about her behavior, she actually had a panic attack and broke down. Like she finally was able to stop lying to herself and face herself. This is an opportunity for her to change and grow because she doesn't want to cause pain. This relationship is not gonna last when it already started on infidelity and lies. Good luck trying to work it out, but I fear this will not work out at all. You're being so naive, dude. The woman literally cheated on her ex and that other guy and went on to cheat on you, and still you want to trust her? Please do, because soon you'll be posting another update about the breakup. This is the sad reality about us. Leave cheating on you. She cheated on 2 other people and didn't stop, did she? Put your mind in the right place. Right now you're in a high place where you're willing to do anything. I was too once and you'll regret it later. Well, a guy started to be obsessed with me a bit like this, ended up destroying my relationship and leaving me for someone else at the end. Taking flights to see me against my will, getting too involved against my will. From the other side, I'd say to take it slowly so you don't end up hurt. Maybe you feel ready now, maybe she isn't yet. Good luck, 4-leaf clover. I didn't do anything against her will. She's the one who first brought up the idea of getting married and having kids. We both discussed, multiple times for days, me visiting her in her country before I bought the ticket, and she told me she would like for me to be there for an event she was attending. It shouldn't have been a surprise for her. After everything came out and I thought about leaving her, she begged me to stay and wanted to work it out. She did say she wasn't ready initially, but if that's the case, you shouldn't fill your partner's head with ideas of marriage and telling them how much you want to be with them. Even she agrees with that. You shouldn't fill your partner's head with ideas of marriage and telling them how much you want to be with them. This one, for both of us, for everyone, 4-leaf clover, go slowly please X. You are headed for the chump train, my friend. I'm sorry for being so blunt, but it is what it is. Thanks for the input. From an outside perspective, there are too many signs pointing towards disaster for sure. But the thing is, I never felt this way. I've been through multiple relationships and I always told myself I would leave if my partner betrays me. I surprise myself by wanting to work through this. I've been in love but not like this. Even if this all burns down, I want to try. To her credit, although it isn't 100% to my satisfaction, she has also shown a lot of effort in building trust. She has opened up a lot more about what's going through her head and showing me through action her commitment to me. She's making long-term plans for our future. She's also been reflecting a lot on her behaviors and tendencies and how to change. We promised to both take couples therapy and individual counseling to work on ourselves. I cheated before with an ex and I was able to learn from it and change, so I believe people can change if they really want to. We have a lot of hurdles. She's younger than me and probably at too early of a stage in her self-development to have changed as much as we'd both like. She needs to grow up fast. She still likes attention from men a bit too much for my liking, and she has trouble establishing clear boundaries with people. We'll be apart for a while, and even when we're together, she'll be busier with work and meeting many new people. On my part, I worry my love for her and my trust is not the same, and that it will strain the relationship even if she is doing everything right by me. Because I felt so emasculated, I entertained thoughts of sleeping with other women. I'm not even interested in other women because I am so attracted to her, but my mind wants to cling to any method to feel in control. But I know this will solve nothing. I'm in pain and gripped by anxiety, but I've also come to terms with the high probability that this won't work out. I will get hurt, absolutely wrecked, again, but this is my choice and so be it. I will go back to not wanting to be in a relationship again, and this time with much more conviction. What makes you think you're the one who she won't cheat on? If you do, give her a chance. You're dumb. You accepted it, you seem into the idea of her sleeping around. That's why you are still with her. Stop being pushy and needy and show her that you can live without her, and she will eventually come around. To be totally honest, when I began reading your post I said to myself, this isn't going to be good. I was afraid to continue reading. My father said something to me when I was 21. About a friend of mine. He said she's in love with being in love. Of course I looked at my DF like he was nuts. He doesn't understand her. Well, I'm 67 now, my friend is 68, she has never had a long-term relationship, never. She was always in love, but it never got to the comfortable, long-lasting, loving relationship, the feeling of lifelong love. She found another man and began another short-lived relationship. Sending you encouragement and hope. You need to fix your picker. Quite possibly with professional help. You write well, so you seem reasonably intelligent. This makes your falling into a vacuum of sex and feelings a bit more disconcerting. This woman cheated on her boyfriend when she was distanced from him. Then she cheated on the guy she was cheating with wherever it is you are. Then she broke up with him to get with you, but she cheated on you with that same guy she broke up with. Does reading it help you to see that she is simply an opportunistic cheater? You somehow fell in love despite all the evidence to the contrary that she was not a good person. She promptly cheated on you with her ex upon returning to her country. It was a week. Everything you are telling yourself to try and make this work is some strange chemical cocktail in your brain that is going to ruin the rest of your life. She is most likely at this point in her life incapable of being in love with anyone because she loves herself far too much. She is a selfish narcissist that believes she should be able to have the sex she wants with anyone that she wants to. The semantic gymnastics she has employed to get you to stick around is something no one but you would want to believe, because that damn chemical soup in your brain has told you that you love this woman. She is a toxic partner that does not care about you like you care about her, and quite possibly does not care about you at all, given that she can cheat so easily and often. You should save yourself a basket full of heartbreak and walk away from this woman, but you won't because of that damn chemical soup. Good luck. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.